See, is that going to work? All right, very good. Studio mic was acting a little weird, but good evening, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather, and we've got rain back in north central Texas. It's not a whole lot of it. We've seen this little cluster kind of go back and forth a little bit. Let me see if I can get that. Agree with me and go into motion here. Yeah, so we've seen this cluster kind of go back and forth. It was a little more robust up in the Metroplex, made its way down, and it's not too active right now in Ellis County, but as that continues to move on to the southeast, now moving towards parts of Navarro County, some new convection there. You can see a little bit of an outflow boundary now moving through parts of Hill County. Little storm tried to pop up there in Granbury, but it really didn't do a whole lot. But if we back this up, a couple of things I want to show you. There was some activity back in Parker and Tarrant counties there. Didn't really hold together. Looks like it's really falling apart. And then farther to the west, we can even see over here, farther out, we see another cluster of storms. That is probably going to weaken and fall apart as it moves through as well. I did notice there's a little bit of a special weather statement, and I'm pretty sure that's probably going to end up being mostly for wind. Yeah, gusts up to 15 miles per hour, so mostly a wind situation with this particular storm, or that cluster there, but I expect that will probably fall apart. And if we broaden this up a little bit, I don't always have it showing this way, but you can see the cold front. So this is the last observation. Now, this might have been a while ago. Let me check and see when that last observation was of the frontal position. It probably hasn't changed much. It's a slow moving one. So that's 4 p.m. So that's been a while now. And so I would imagine the front may be a little bit closer. In fact, this cluster may have formed along this front. This to the west here is kind of helping to push this stationary front that's just been sitting here kind of up along the Red River, eventually pushing all of this southward. So we will have the front move through. It could be early tomorrow morning. It's moving very, very slowly. So I'm not expecting the front to be moving through overnight so much as probably tomorrow morning here. And you can hear my son there in the background. But all of this activity, hang on just a second here. Give me 1 second. So we have the cluster here, again, I think this will probably fall apart, but we have more rain chances over the next few days. Let me kind of go back to this main cluster here that we can just kind of watch on the radar. And you can see, now yes, there was a little bit of a hook shape to that there. There wasn't anything to that. Wasn't rotating, that sort of thing. Didn't have to worry about that. But a nice little cluster left over. And then we do have new convection here north of Corsicana near Blooming Grove as well. So we have all of this going on at the same time. That stuff to the west is just kind of falling apart. But what we're going to see tomorrow morning as the front is actually moving through, could have another round of showers and thunderstorms. And then as we get into Saturday, Sunday, we will be watching a couple of these little disturbances that come through. Ironically enough, Saturday will be part of the remnants of a Pacific tropical system that will kind of get slung around the high pressure system and move through. And then Sunday, another disturbance may make its way in. Honestly, it looks like Sunday might have a better chance than Saturday, but either way, we will be watching for those little systems that could bring some rain to our area. It's going to help us bring temperatures down as well. It was really warm today. DFW Airport hit 100 degrees today, so we were quite warm, probably for the last time, at least for a while. At least in the forecast period, we will be quite a bit cooler, and we will get more into fall weather as we go into the next few days. Now, as we get into next week, we're back in at least the low 90s. I think, if I remember correctly, let's see, yeah, so we should be in the, well, actually the National Weather Service now saying upper 80s for next week, and it looks like late next week we might be looking at a cold front. I'm going to have to check that out before I post tomorrow morning's forecast, so we'll take a look at that. You know me, I don't put a whole lot of stock in fronts that are 6-7 days out. So we'll take a look at that. But the good news is that we are looking at an improvement of temperatures from here on out. Today was kind of our last brutal summer day before we get into a much more moderated period of those temperatures. Marissa Walston, any idea when power will be back? Unfortunately, I don't have that information. I don't know anything about when power is back. That's going to be up to your power provider. And if you're over by Waxahachie High School, I would imagine that's Encore. So it's going to be up to whatever they may be communicating to you. Unfortunately, I just don't have that information. But this little cluster here, going to continue on to the southeast. It is moving towards the Blooming Grove area. So moving right in to the Abilene Bardwell area right now could at least impact parts of Venice here. It's not a severe storm. It's loud. It's going to bring some heavy rain, going to probably bring some gusty winds. But again, not a severe storm at the moment. And tomorrow morning, again, we could be looking at a few showers and thunderstorms that develop as the front moves through. So those could pop up in our area and then proceed southward. So I would say for tomorrow morning, your commute to work, commute to school, I don't think this is going to be widespread crazy storms or anything like that. I think this is more or less going to be a few showers popping up, proceeding southward with the front tomorrow morning. And then as we go on from there, Friday afternoon, I want to wait and see what the morning looks like. I want to look and see what the front is doing before I forecast rain for Friday afternoon. Saturday, Sunday, early in the day. So Saturday morning to around noon, and then Sunday morning to around noon, we may be looking at more storms moving through as those disturbances make their way. But we will take it. I mean, we showed you the, if you watched earlier, saw the post earlier today on the Facebook page, and Facebook and X and Instagram, you saw that there was just that slightest bit of abnormally dry condition starting to pop up western Johnson County, kind of through Hood and Somervell counties there, and then up into Parker and Tarrant. So farther to the west, we are starting to see those drought conditions. We've heard from Johnson County emergency management talking about fire restrictions being a possibility. Johnson County didn't get a whole lot of rain out of this. There are more chances though. So we are starting to see, and hey, I mean, if we're getting to the very end of August and we're barely in drought conditions, that is a dream come true for us here in north central Texas. So the good news is we've got more rain coming in that will help to keep those drought conditions out of the way as we start to get into fall, which is oftentimes a rainy season here in our area. So that's the good news. The bad news being that we do have some outdoor activities this weekend. We have the Blues on Main Festival in Ennis over the weekend, and there could be some rain. So I don't think it's going to be enough rain to cancel any plans, especially the fact that in Ennis Saturday morning, I will be there with Hope Health. We will be a part of the health fair. I think most of that is inside, so be sure to check that out and come and learn about what Hope Health has to offer. I'll also tell you too, North Texas Giving Day, early giving began, and Hope Health would be happy to receive a donation as a part of that. But we're watching these storms coming through. This is not a severe storm at this time. There is a little bit of a spin here, and I don't think that this is going to be a tornadic spin or anything like that. I think it's just might be a little bit of a mesoscale convective situation here. So it's not any kind of tornadic circulation, but I think that it could just be the progression of this system as it continues to move on to the southeast. And we will take it. We will take any rain we can get here in our area in August as we get ready to begin meteorological fall on Monday on Labor Day. How do you like that, folks? Labor Day, the beginning of meteorological fall, it all switches, and the temperatures won't be terrible. Normal right now, normal highs at the end of August, beginning of September at DFW, 93 degrees. The thing is that September is never as cool as people want it to be. People tend to think that when we get into September, you flip a switch and we're in the 80s. Unfortunately, we will have some 90s next week. At least I still have 90s in the forecast for right now. National Weather Service is kind of directing those a little bit cooler. We'll see what they say. I tend to have our temperatures a little bit warmer than some of those projections. but we'll see. I would be happy to be in the 80s the majority of the next 7 days. And then, hey, if we're looking at even cooler temperatures as we get into the weekend after this coming weekend, hey, I'll take that too. So we will happily get rid of the heat here in our area. So expect more showers and thunderstorms overnight tonight. Again, this is kind of falling apart. We could still have some gusty winds in this activity, even what's farther out, so don't be surprised overnight if we have little kind of spells of gusty winds, because when you have these storm complexes that squash and collapse and fall apart, that energy has to go somewhere. So that subsident winds, that subsident air, that sinking air, going to squash those storms. All that energy has to go somewhere. So that hits the ground, spreads out, and you can have some gusty winds where there used to be a storm. May not be a storm there anymore, but you may still have that remnant energy bringing some of those winds through. So don't be surprised if there's some winds that come through from this and those storms farther out to the northwest. I'll keep watching those to see if we're going to get any more storms overnight tonight. I'm doubtful. We'll be watching tomorrow morning as well. Could have some showers and thunderstorms moving through as the front pushes through. So give yourself a little extra time taking the kids to school, getting to work in the morning. Tomorrow afternoon, evening, I want to see what tomorrow morning looks like before I know what Friday Night Lights will look like. And then we'll keep on going Saturday morning, Sunday morning. Could be a couple of storm complexes coming through. So that's what we're watching over the next few days. I know I haven't been doing the forecast video updates as often. My mornings have been chaotic recently, and I hope you can forgive me there, but I am planning on doing one tomorrow because we've got a lot going on this weekend. So we will cover the forecast in a video format tomorrow morning for you to get all those latest details on the fact that we're getting into some earlier fall weather, and we may not have the return of summer to have to deal with, at least not in the near term. So thank you so much for watching. Also, I want to make sure to mention, you notice the storms are back. Fall, and here I go on my soapbox, fall is when we see the return of severe weather season. It's our second severe weather season. It's not usually as intense or as frequent as in the spring, but we do tend to have severe weather here in North Texas. I want to make sure that we mention we are looking at a situation where we've kind of been lulled into a false sense of security. Now, not quite so much this summer as other summers, but make sure that you are prepared for severe weather. This is the time to do that ahead of the return of all of these storms. I just put the link out there for Weather Call. If you sign up for Weather Call, that's going to send a call to your phone when you have a severe thunderstorm warning, a tornado warning, a flash flood emergency, extreme wind warning, something like that. One of those really urgent phone calls or urgent warnings. You'll get a phone call from me saying, hey, this has been issued for your area, and it's not going to be the whole county. I get notices from my the Ring camera app, the system, I guess, that supports that, when it's somewhere in the county. I don't need to know if I live in Burleson. I don't need to know what's going on in Grandview. This will tell you when there's a warning specifically for your address. Weather Call Next Gen will keep you informed. You get a phone call to say, hey, pay attention, and then you get a text message that shows you the radar, shows you the polygon, all the details you need to know as you're taking shelter, and of course tuning into South Metro Weather for more updates. So I just put the link in the chat there. That's how you sign up. It's just $15 a month. It's a great service to have, especially if we're getting into our next severe weather season and you're not yet ready for it. This is the time. Don't wait until severe weather is in the forecast. Don't wait until you suddenly have that tornado watch issued and, oh man, I got to get ready for this. Make sure you're prepared for severe weather season ahead of time. And lastly, let's take a look at the camera here in Glen Heights. This is let me get that banner out of the way as well. This is the Cyclone Port camera over in Glen Heights. I appreciate the folks from the city of Glen Heights giving us permission to watch this, because you can see all this lightning that is going on. Plenty of lightning out there tonight. This has been quite the little storm. I only got about, just under 2/10 of an inch of rain. So not a whole lot of rain coming with this one, but you can see Claudia, yeah, $15 a year. So if I said 15 a month, it's 15 a year. I apologize. It's It's been a minute since I've had to make that pitch. So Claudia, I appreciate the correction there. But plenty of lightning in this little storm, and you can see this is it right here. So we're kind of looking almost southwest here. So that storm right over in that southern sky, and quite the light show out there. Ooh, yeah. So it's funny, I saw that out my window, and there it is. You can see the little bit of a delay there. There are some power outages out there. Again, I don't have information on when those power outages will be ended. You'll have to get in touch with the power company, look at the messages they're sending out, make sure you report that outage to them. I've heard of situations before where everybody on a street thought that everybody else was reporting it and nobody ever heard about it. So make sure that you are reporting that power outage to the folks that need to know so that they can get you back online. Thank you so much for tuning into South Metro Weather. I'm going to continue to watch this. Again, don't be surprised if you get some spells of gusty winds overnight as these leftover pockets of energy from these storms that have collapsed move out. Farther to the northwest, those storms are still rough and ready, but I don't think they're going to make it here. But I'll keep watching. Tomorrow morning, could be more rain. Tomorrow afternoon, evening. Let's see where things stand. Thank you so much for watching. More updates coming from South Metro Weather throughout the evening.